morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price. We're doing a special episode. I am Jake, your co-host, sitting across the way, co-host extraordinaire, and the only man who insists that we give the listeners an avenue in which to communicate with us. Tevis at Master Control. Tevis, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. I want to hear from our fans.
Well, that's why you're wrong, all right? So if I sound particularly spicy, it's because I am, all right? And my ire is directed specifically at Rory B13.
Okay, well.
So first of all, Rory B13, who thinks he knows everything or she knows everything. I don't know who Rory is. And they're sitting there coming at me with these suggestions, right, on what movies we should do. Like, we aren't picking adequate enough movies. Well, first of all, Rory B13, you. All right? That's what I have to say. Oh, let's see here. Rory B13, you guys should definitely look at Clue. Came out in 1985, and it's really funny. It was my dad's favorite movie, and I think it would be funny to hear your guys' thoughts. Well, you know what I think, Rory B13? I think you should mind your damn business and stay in your lane. That's what I think. I don't think you should be telling us how to run this movie podcast. You can run your own movie podcast and talk about 1985's Clue as much as you damn well please. With that being said, today's special episode, we are going to look at Clue from 1985.
Yeah, it's a movie Jake just came up with out of the blue.
I came to me like a lightning bolt of inspiration out of nowhere, and there is no credit needed given, because this was totally my own original thought.
You full of shit. You understand that? You full of shit.
So no, we are going to be looking at 1985's Clue, based off the Parker Brothers board game.
Yeah, so thank you, Rory B13.
I will not say those words.
Or AKA Jake's brain.
That's right. Lightning bolt of inspiration. Totally my own unique thought.
I was excited for this. I have never seen this movie before.
I've seen it once, but that's history. We're not
there yet. Back up.
Welcome to our first ever listener request. Thank you, Rory B13, saying, hey, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Tevis leaves a Q&A. Hit us up. Favorite jokes or comments, segments from the episodes you like, movies you think we should do. If we get a request that we're able to accommodate, we'll do it. We got nothing else going on.
Oh, yeah. I like reading the comments, and it's fun.
All right. Written by John Landis. I don't know why I said it like that. He just has one of those names that's really fun to emphasize. John Landis. Jonathan Lynn and uncredited Anthony E. Pratt.
Do you know what John Landis wrote?
You mean John Landis?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you know what wrote? In my head, I was like, this is sounding like a John Cena intro.
Yeah! We're fired up.
Oh.
No, I know he wrote Clue.
American Werewolf in London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was a good one. I like that.
Directed by Jonathan Lynn, one of the writers.
And do you know...
God damn it.
What? Jonathan Lynn!
Nope. Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't work. Doesn't have the same impact as John Landis.
No. Do you know what he directed?
No.
My Cousin
Clue?
Vinny. Jonathan Lynn.
Gross.
Yeah, he directed My Cousin Vinny.
No one liked that movie.
Nuns on the Run.
Don't know what that is.
It's got Eric Idle and Robbie Coltrane.
Wait, is that in the same series as Nuns Spread Their Buns?
I don't think so. No.
I'm losing interest.
Yeah. And The Whole Nine Yards with Bruce Willis.
Okay, wait a minute. Now that has to be part of Nuns Spread Their Buns.
I'm afraid to ask what that is. I'm pretty sure I know what that is.
You know what that is.
Yeah, but no, nuns on the run do not spread their buns.
Well, it would be difficult to run like that. You're all bent over and, your hands are back there. You'd be doing more of like a goose waddle.
Anyway.
Starring Tim Curry and Christopher Lloyd. Ratings time. IMDb, 7.2 out of 10. You're making a face.
That's a little high.
Okay, here, how about this? Rotten Tomatoes, 71%.
That's a little high.
Oh, no, stupid. You got it much too high. It's
Wait, I feel like we're getting a preview into your thoughts on this movie.
Behind the scenes?
You're jumping ahead. Okay, budget. Even when I read this, my wife did a double take. She went, really? How much do you think this movie like this in 85 would get made for?
$1 million.
I think just a solid cool
Maybe.
mill.
Yeah.
With an estimated budget of $15 million.
15 million?
$15 million. And I don't know where that money went. Presumably a lot of all the actors had really nice contracts.
I mean,
did they build the mansion from scratch?
That was a really nice gun. I don't know.
That candlestick, though,
that was amazing.
Actually used to choke out Marie Antoinette so they could subdue her and take her to the guillotine.
$15 million.
Yes.
Holy shit. Maybe it was because of all the reshoots of all the multiple endings that they did.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
I have no idea. I don't see it.
All right. Worldwide gross. 14 million. Shut up. I'm doing a thing here.
Me too. I'm fucking dying.
Shut up. I'm doing a thing. Compose yourself.
Jesus Christ.
Shut up. Shut up.
I feel like Yvette. I can't breathe.
If you don't shut up, I'm going to come over there and choke you out. All right.
Oh.
Worldwide gross. $14,643,997.
And 35 cents.
Now. Shut up. Now. Shut up. This movie didn't make it, quite all of its money back. So we never got Clue 2. Yvette's Revenge. Would you like, now normally I just give general numbers, right? Like 14.6 million, right? But I gave specifics here. The US and Canada is considered domestic.
Sure.
How much do you think of this worldwide gross came from US and Canada? How much came from the domestic market?
Oh, I'm just going to throw out a number. 5 million.
Okay. Of the worldwide gross, the US and Canada markets made up approximately $14,643,997.
What?
I'm genuinely not sure if this movie got a worldwide release, and if it did, literally no one saw it.
Okay. That's surprising to me.
I saw that and went, and I had to include it.
Yeah, that's really shocking to me.
Awards. There are none.
But now I am too hurt. I am shocked and offended and hurt.
You're just giving me crazy eyes mouthing the word none. You're right, there are none. This movie did not have any awards. Yeah, I was reading my notes. Are you ready for the reviews?
They hit me.
Ebert,
Oh, here we go.
Not Ebert.com. Ebert.
Are me and Eve's going to agree?
Fun, I must
Nope.
say, is in short supply.
Oh, okay.
Fun, I must say, is in short supply.
Okay.
Are you ready for the New York Times?
Hit me.
Oh, all right. Like the board game on which it is based, the movie Clue is most fun in the early stages.
Okay. Maybe.
Maybe. It's in short supply.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. What's your history of this movie, Tevis?
I always wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we would go to the video store and rent VHS.
Silence, you old fool!
You're a million years old, we know.
A million years old.
You and dear Mama and Papa would go down to the local gas station and fill up the old Model T and get a pizza pie from the local Italians, and then you would rent a VHS. Yes.
Yes. And I always remember seeing this on the shelf and thinking that might be fun, but I don't know why I never pulled the trigger on that. I just hadn't thought about it.
Well, thanks to Rory B13, you have pulled the trigger on it.
Thank you so much.
Man, our sub counter is definitely just dropped by 1.
No, when I saw the comment, I was excited. I was like, "Oh, cool! I've always wanted to watch this one, but it was always one that I was like, oh, I'll get it next time. I'll rent it next time. And it next time just never came. There's that. And I couldn't even have told you I knew Tim Curry was in it, but other than that, I couldn't have told you who was in it.
So I did not know that this movie existed at all until I started dating my wife, because her and her family love it. Her parents more than her, but she grew up with this movie. Her parents love this movie. I didn't know it was a thing. And so it's been years and years ago now. I've watched it one time before watching it for the show, and it was with her family, and they're all dying, and I'm like, yeah, yep, just trying to not be weird or awkward in front of my girlfriend's family. Nobody wants to be in that position. Actually, you want a tangent about my luck and not being weird or awkward in front of my girlfriend's family? Now my wife.
Absolutely.
The first time I meet her sister, her older sister and their young family and her parents are there and whatever, we're at the sister's house and she's serving a lovely lasagna lunch. And we're eating at the table, and my wife and I are, girlfriend at the time, we're sitting next to each other, and I take a bite of lasagna, and it's good, I'm having a good time, and they're talking, and I just do what I do, even now, after, her and I have been married almost 11 years, and, how many divorces have you had in 11 years, by the way?
3.
Okay. I still act the same way at large family gatherings, with her side. I just sit quietly and try not to make an ass of myself. So I'm eating the lasagna, and I've got a nice big fork full, and I'm moving it up to my mouth, and the whole thing just slides off right onto the crotch of my pants. It didn't hit the floor. It didn't hit my leg. It didn't land on my shirt. Just right on the old, just crotch of my pants. And I just get beet red, and I'm looking down, trying to hide my embarrassment. And my wife, Anna, she's looking at me, and she nudges me what is the matter with you right now? And I'd kind of glance down. I'm like, look. And she just, this huge glob of lasagna on my groin, and she just starts losing it. I'm like, damn it. Every time I try to make a good impression, something bad happens with my groin. I stand by that statement too.
Okay, question.
Yes. My groin was not out at that time.
Who serves lasagna for lunch?
She just wanted to. It was an easy to make, cheap, big meal for a bunch of people.
Okay. It's like a frozen lasagna?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Probably not. Well, it might have been.
There's a lot of work going into making lasagna.
It was probably frozen or maybe crock pot or something.
Okay.
They were on a budget, and they were having a bunch of guests. And what's something easy and relatively cheap to make that can feed a bunch of people?
Spaghetti,
lasagna, pasta. When in doubt, pasta.
That's true.
And no, it was good until I dropped it all my groin like an idiot. What are we talking about?
Clue.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know this movie existed. I watched it and I went, oh, yeah, this is a movie. And then I kind of forgot about it, never revisited it. And then Rory B13 was like, you guys should watch Clue. And I'm like, man, I don't remember anything about this movie other than I feel like Tim Curry does all the heavy lifting. So yeah, I'll watch it again. Yeah. And then I watched it again.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. We're getting into it.
Yeah. Let's jump into the weeds here.
Jump into the dog do. Am I right, guys?
Oh.
This is all we're getting into it. I'm not. Your face. Your face. You want me to start us off or you can open her up?
The dog poop gag. I knew. That is my first note. Dog poop gag. We're in trouble.
My first note is ominous mansion. My second note, dog poop.
Yeah, so Tim Curry arrives.
Yep. And he has to give the guard dogs meat on the bone.
Yeah,
so they won't tear his face off.
To subdue them or whatever, and he steps in dog poop. And then every guest that shows up makes this sniffing face. They're like, oh, what does that smell? And then they check their shoes. They check
their shoes, but it's Tim Curry the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Wadsworth.
I'm like, oh man, is this the type of humor we're in for?
Yeah, it is, brother.
I'm like, we're in trouble.
I love vaudeville humor. I love slapstick humor. This movie is filled with the worst of both.
Yeah. I did not laugh one time.
I had chuckles. I chuckled. So we learn that Wadsworth is the butler to the mysterious owner of the mansion, and they have invited a number of guests to a dinner party, but they all have pseudonyms, so no one is going by their real name. Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, Scarlet, Professor Plum, all the characters from the beloved game.
Yeah. And Mr. Body is...
Yes.
Was he in the game? I don't think so. I didn't think so.
Well, technically, he is, because you're trying to find the murderer of the body. The game of Clue is there's a body, and you have to find the murderer. So
I see what they did there.
Oh, he's appreciating it on a whole...
It might get its first laugh from me. Nope.
wait, shh. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. Wait for Tevis' first laugh. It's like where the crawdads sing in this motherfucker.
Yes.
Oh, what's her face is coming out with her mattress to get a good night's sleep.
What?
The crickets.
Oh, the old lady? Wait.
No, the girl. And where the crawdads
The marsh girl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Marsh girl. I forgot her name. Marsh girl's coming out.
Marsh girl.
It's the sound of the swamp or marsh or whatever is soothing. Never mind, that was a hot fire joke. Eat my ass. Nom, 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 nom. But no, this dog poop gag, I'll give them points for sticking with it, because everyone does the sniff and shoe check. Everyone. But everyone arrives, and they're all represented by a pseudonym of the character from the game they're meant to portray. Christopher Lloyd's in this movie. I love Christopher Lloyd. I feel like Christopher Lloyd is wasted in this movie.
He's a creeper in this movie.
Yeah, he's a real creep.
Yeah.
He's a real perv. He's real handsy, like real forwardly handsy. Like has no qualm whatsoever, grabbing, touching, squeezing, loving, feeling. touching.
A little journey going on here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because at the beginning when he's at the door with Leslie Ann Warren, I don't remember which one she
Scarlet.
played.
Scarlet.
But yeah, he tries to grab a handful of her ass, and
He doesn't try.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, hello. This is the type of character you are. Okay.
Scarlet. She played Scarlet. Acknowledge that she played Scarlet.
She was Scarlet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But we learn at dinner that everyone there either works in or around the government. They're all from Washington, D.C. Apparently that's where this ominous mansion is in the D.C. Area.
Yeah. Does that, I mean, does that really matter in the story?
For the specific characters and the story they're telling, kind of. Does it matter to the game? No. But for the story that they've adapted from the game, yeah, a little bit. When you think about what they all do, how some of the characters interconnect with each other, and the blackmail and the what
I
have
had
you.
a hard time keeping track of who's what and
Well, that's bingo boards, everyone. Thomas Tevis struggles to follow a movie plot.
yeah. And I think it was mainly because I was bored.
So Tim Curry stepped in dog poop.
I know. And I was dying with laughter and I couldn't control myself through the whole rest of the movie. So I couldn't pay attention.
Christopher Lloyd grabbed Miss Scarlet's butt.
Yeah. No, there was a moment where a character and another character tried to squeeze through a tight space together and got stuck. And that was funny.
It's like the classic Three Stooges bit, but somehow they did the same action, but they still managed to do it wrong.
They did it like 3 or 4 times, like when they all split up.
Yeah,
into pairs. Like there was 3 pairs of them, I think, that did the exact same bit.
No one knows how to just take a turn going through doors.
No, and I was like, okay, I've seen this. I've seen this. And I don't know. It didn't click with me.
So we learn that they are all invited here because they're all in government or government adjacent, and that they're all the victims of being blackmailed. And that Wadsworth, Tim Curry's character, Wadsworth's employer who invited them all, is the blackmailer.
Correct.
Or has information on the blackmailer. Something blackmail.
Okay.
Boom. I've got more laughs from this I got more laugh out of this content than the movie did.
Absolutely. There it is right there. One nun.
One nun.
One nun.
Spreading their buns.
One nun on the run, spreading her bun. Watch out, Eminem. Here
Watch
I come.
out, Dr.
Oh,
Seuss.
shit. Dropping rhymes.
You startled me when you were like, oh, I was startled. I'm startled by the fire you're setting with your mad lyrics. You absolute psychopath.
Watch out, I'm going platinum.
Psychopath Tevis on the loose. Hide your goose.
Me and John Landis.
John Landis. She'll choke a mate out with a noose. Got it. Boom.
Oh. Can we talk about Yvette for a minute?
And her huge boobs.
She has the worst accent.
Yeah, but it's fake.
I know. I understand that it's fake, but it's even...
You know it's not fake. Her huge boobs.
She has massive personality.
She have massive tits. And it seems like I'm just like, man, Jake's really talking about this chick's boobs. That's weird. Yeah,
No.
just like every character in this movie just stares and stares and stares at her cleavage.
At one point, Christopher Lloyd almost rests his head on them.
If Professor Plum had half a chance, he would have dove off a diving board head first in between those things.
He would have motorboated the hell out of her. But yeah,
He would have looked like the king of the Gungans. There's a hot Phantom Menace reference for everyone.
oh, the minute she started talking, I was like, she's in on it.
She talked.
Yeah.
I was distracted by her huge bouncing bosoms. Like everyone else in this movie was.
Yeah, it was the first time you even see her too, because she's in the study or whatever, dancing to the music, and it's like, holy cow!
I thought I was watching nuns spread their buns.
I would have rather watched nuns spread their buns.
To be fair, it's quite good. The story's fantastic.
Yeah, I bet it's deep.
Oh, it gets deep.
Oh, all right. We're talking about Clue, and
Yeah, we've been talking about Yvette's bosom.
this murder mystery.
Now, the cook. Did you recognize the cook? I immediately recognized the cook.
No,
It was Nurse Kelly from MASH.
I've never watched MASH.
What?
Nope.
Alan Alda?
I know what it
Hawkeye?
is.
Get out.
No, my
Get out.
bye everyone. It's been fun. I'm gonna go watch MASH. Apparently, no, I
Thank
didn't know.
you.
I didn't know who that.
Well,
No
idea. She's only one of the few characters that is in the entire show from season 1 to the last season.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's actually why, like, her character, like, gets several, like, a story arc, and there are several episodes around her just because, you know, her as an actress starting out as an extra, but she had been with the show for all, like, 11 years. And they were just like, yeah, she plays nurse. So she started out as an extra, then became Nurse Kelly. Like, not like her role changed, just like,
That's
just the evolution, you know.
Yeah.
She's been around forever, and they gave her a name, and then she started getting lines, and then there were even whole episodes around her. So, you know,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then she went on to play Clue.
No, she starred in Clue.
In Clue.
She played Chef Ho.
Chef Ho.
Because she's Asian.
Yeah, because
Technically, I believe she was Hawaiian, but she plays Nurse Ho.
Chef Ho.
Chef Ho. Nurse Kelly.
Nurse Kelly.
Chef Ho. Ho. Something wordplay with Ho. Got it.
Yes. Okay. No, did you recognize who Mr. Green was?
I recognized him, but I couldn't remember why. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
He was either Lenny, I think, from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he shows up in a few different things.
Yeah, and for the life of me, the only thing I can think of that he's been in recently that I've watched is Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
He's, I think, Saul's brother or something. But
you know why he crops up in things? Because he's a normal, handsome-looking man, not squiggy.
Yeah, what is?
Hey, Laverne.
Yeah, but I enjoyed him as a character. I thought he was
Okay, this actually made me laugh because, again, you said you didn't laugh. I chuckled several times at this movie, usually at Tim Curry. Tim Curry carries this movie, and I love Tim Curry.
Tim Curry is fantastic.
If you enjoy Tim Curry, this is Tim Curry, like, carrying this film. But they realize that they're all victims of blackmail. Mr. Body shows up. He's the late guest. They find out he is the blackmailer. Yeah, he's the blackmailer, not the whoever's running the shindig, but he's the blackmailer. Right. And so to avoid the blackmail, they all Wadsworth ends up forcing everyone to talk about what scandal or what thing that they're hiding, that they're being blackmailed about. Get it out in the open. You have no reason to be blackmailed for it if it's out in the open, right? And Mr. Green. So they're going through and they're like, Mrs. Peacock, you're taking bribes in bathroom stalls. And Scarlet, you run a brothel in D.C. And Professor Plum, you were a psychiatrist and took advantage of a female patient. And Colonel Mustard, you're a war profiteer. And who am I forgetting? Mrs. White is a husband murderer. And that's everybody.
Peacock?
Peacock was taking bribes.
That's right. Okay.
Her husband's the senator, but she's the one taking bribes. And they also made it sound like she was like working a glory hole is what they made it sound like, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to explain that for anyone who doesn't know what that means.
Just rent nuns spread their buns.
There's no glory hole in nuns spread their buns.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yet. Simpsons, MASH, nuns spread their buns in that order. Actually, if you wanted to swap nuns, if you wanted to swap MASH and Simpsons, you know what? Just we're gonna go upstairs like bros in college and watch nuns spread their buns together, and it works because we're both actively wearing sweatpants right now. What was I talking about? Mr. Green. He stands up and he's like, I know what all this is about. I have no reason to feel shame for this. I am a homosexual. And it turns to everyone, and the look on Tim Curry's face as Mr. Green proudly exclaims he's a homosexual. It starts looking at the paper like that's not at all what he was going to say. And this guy's just spouting secrets. It's also important to know that this movie came out in 1985, but takes place in the 1950s. During the Great Red Scare and communism and the Cold War and etc. McCarthyism.
Yeah, so he goes, I have no reason to have shame for this. I'm a homosexual. But then he immediately goes, but I have to keep that secret because of the job that I hold.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. I 100% agree with that. But
especially in the 50s.
But then that just plays to the gag at the end where we're
not there.
I know, but
we're not there.
What he says.
Don't say it. We're not there.
We're not there, so I can't say it.
There. Shut up. Shut up. I'm like the Colonel in Lethal Weapon. Shut up. But no, the look on Tim Curry's face is just like, that's not what I was going to say at all. That Tim Curry's face made me laugh pretty hard. But Mr. Body is like, yes, I'm the one blackmailing you all. Before we go any farther, let me get my little bag. And he brings in a suitcase. And in the suitcase are all the possible murder weapons from the game Clue. The wrench, the lead pipe, the candlestick, the gun, the knife, the noose. And he distributes them all to just to the guests. And he says, here's the thing. You could kill me, but you'll still have to expose your secrets. And many of you will go to jail. Or no one outside this room knows anything's happening. I'm going to turn out the lights. One of you kill Wadsworth. Then we all just leave. And it's done. He turns out the lights. They're screaming. They're scuffling. A gun goes off. There's more screaming. Lights come on. And there's Mr. Body face down on the floor. They're like, my God, he's dead.
Yeah, even Christopher Lloyd checks him.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah.
Checks him. And, yep, he's dead. But they don't know how. They're like, there's no bullet hole. There's no knife wound. There's no blood. But he's dead. He got no pulse. So now the murder investigation is on. As they try to figure out who did. Then they hear a vet scream. So they run in there. And they're like, why are you screaming? And, she was like, is the killer in here? No, I'm alone. And they're like, why the hell are you screaming? She's like, well, I drank the cognac that may have been poisoned, and I don't want to be alone, and I'm scared. And Christopher Lloyd tries to dive in to her sumptuous bounty.
She does have a treasure chest full of bounty.
Oh, she has a treasure chest, all right. So now they're trying to figure out, who did what and why and how. And then we learn that Tim Curry's character, Wadsworth, was the butler to Mr. Body because he too was being blackmailed. He and his wife were basically being blackmailed into servitude. So they were slaves because his wife, and he gets real choked up and starts to cry. And he's like, had friends who are socialists. And
Everybody gasps.
The gasps and looks of just shock and disgust on everyone's faces.
Nothing.
Nope. But then the doorbell rings, and there's a guy who, a motorist, because there's a big heavy storm going on, and
his car broke down.
His car broke down. Needs to use a phone. There's definitely a corpse in one of the rooms, and they're like, shit. So they let him use a phone and lock him in the room. He's like, what the fuck? Why am I locked in this room? And they're like, okay, police will be here in like 30, 40 minutes. We got to figure out who did this before then. And it's all good. I'm like, what? Do they?
How do they know it's 30 to 40 minutes?
Because Wadsworth told them.
Yeah, I know that. But like, did he call the cops and was like,
presumably,
hey,
yeah.
will you guys show up here at 9:00?
Yeah.
I have a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that's how.
I mean, that's how it works when you call the police.
Well, I know anytime I have to call them, it takes 30 to 40 minutes.
And you live right across the street from the police
and
station.
I'm like, hey! Hey!
We'll be right there.
More of just, I can't even off the top of my head super remember a lot of the just miscellaneous gags throughout.
They're all the same.
And they're like, wait, we're not alone. They go and check on the cook. She's dead with the knife in her back. But it's the knife that was distributed to the guests.
Yeah.
They're like, where the hell did it go? Scarlett, you had it. She's like, yeah, but I screamed and dropped it. Anyone could have picked it up. So the whodunit continues. And so then they're like, okay, we just got to get her into the lounge with the other body.
There's a lot of running around to different rooms.
Like the board game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and there's a lot of falling down.
Yeah. That goes into this movie. I love vaudeville humor and I love slapstick humor. And this movie has the worst of both aplenty.
I don't remember what led to this moment, but I actually enjoyed this moment here. Tim Curry is in the doorway and he's spilling some plot point. I don't remember.
Goss.
But the camera's sitting really low and it's pointed kind of up, and you can see the candlestick on the top of the doorway. And in my head, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, where it's almost like a look for the Easter egg type of deal. And that's the candlestick from the game. I said, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he gets loud and then the candlestick falls and bonks him on the head and he falls to the ground. I had a little smile at that. That was pretty good. I like that.
What's interesting you mentioned that, because when they bring the chef's body back, Mr. Body is gone.
Yes.
So and that's when the candlestick in the bathroom door, but Tim Curry gets hit with the candlestick. Bathroom door opens and the corpse of Mr. Body falls out, except now he's bleeding and is definitely dead.
Yeah. So he got hit with that.
And they're just like, where the fuck did this guy come from? So now we have two corpses. I think that's the point where they lock the weapons away.
Yeah, in the cupboard.
And Tim Curry throws the key outside.
He has the only key.
Gets rid of it.
Yeah, but he has to be persuaded by the group because he was going to keep it on him, and they're like, no, throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they didn't trust him.
Exactly.
Then they split up into teams to search the house to see who else is here. And that's when Wadsworth and Mrs. White go together. Scarlett and Mustard go together.
Right.
Plum.
Professor Plum. No, Professor Plum.
Purple. Professor Purple goes with...
I don't recall.
Person.
Oh, Peacock.
Peacock
and Plum.
And then Green goes with
Yvette. Yeah.
Get it? Because she's the attractive, buxom woman and he's gay.
And has no interest in her.
As he states multiple times.
Yes.
Get it? Because he's gay. Do you get it? It's funny.
Eh.
No, Tevis, you don't understand. He's a literal homosexual.
Who has no interest in
women.
The woman with the huge personality.
Correct. Because he likes men.
Okay, yeah.
Get it?
I get it.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, see, I'm worried you're not getting it because you're not laughing. Because if you got it, you would laugh.
I must not have got this whole movie.
But he stepped in dog poop.
Dog poop is funny.
So that's when we find secret passageways throughout the house. Again, akin to the game. But we see a gloved hand with the pipe or one of the weapons that were supposed to be locked away murder the motorist who was trying to use the phone. I have several questions. We saw the key get thrown, so how did they get in the cupboard? And B, they're in pairs. How did that person sneak away when...
Bingo card.
Tevis's goddamn phone goes off while we're recording very loudly. But they're in pairs. There's only one killer. How did this person sneak away without their partner noticing or realizing? I mean, Mustard and Scarlet got stuck in a doorway together.
Well, it's explained in one of the 3 endings that we get.
We're not there yet.
But I'm just saying.
You know what? You are correct. But then, so they're like, oh my God, what do we do? There's now 3 bodies, and then a police officer shows up.
Yeah, because he's investigating the
car out front. The dead motorist's car.
And what did this motorist do to the car? Because
it was like up on a stump or like it was way up. It was teetering way up in the air on something. The car was like 7 feet up.
Yeah, because he's like almost under it, looking up at it a few times. Like, what in the shit did this driver do? Was he driving like 100 miles an hour in the rain and just said, fuck it, Jesus, take the wheel?
Like everyone else.
Yeah.
Every time it rains slightly.
But he did not break down.
No, he wrecked that shit.
Yeah, he wrecked the shit out of that car. Was it on fire?
I think I put my foot too close to the heater and my sock caught fire. I'm like, God damn, my toes are getting warm. Oh.
911. The fire department. That's right.
I'm slightly singed. It's all right.
Oh.
Woo! I was like, God damn, it's toasty in here. I lit my goddamn foot on fire.
This is our first fire on the podcast.
Although we've been hot fire on many an episode, but I did in fact light my
We're literally hot fire. I have a hot fire episode.
Lit my foot on fire. Jesus. Whoo. I was like, man, my toes, specifically my 2 middle toes, are getting like really warm. Like really warm. And then I was like, this is uncomfortably warm.
If you're not aware, we're in the Midwest. It's a little chilly in the Midwest.
It's a bit chilled.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
No, not now. We have a space heater in the studio, and
it's wildly dangerous.
I noticed a few times Jake was playing footsie with it, and apparently he caught his socks on fire.
I caught a sock on fire. I didn't catch both socks on fire. That would be ridiculous.
Kind of like the movie that we're doing.
Cop is like, can I use your phone? And they're like, yeah. So
Worst cop in the world.
He gets locked in a room. They lock him in the room. And he's just like, oh, that's weird. Like, that's...
And doesn't... He gets out of the room and then goes back into the room and they relock him in there.
Yes.
And he's like, what's going on? Like, you dumb. You don't see that there's something going on here.
Regular Al Powell, am I right, guys?
Jesus Christ.
So
Al Powell was a good police officer.
no, he wasn't. He murdered a child. So
That child had a toy gun. It was dark. He didn't think it was a toy gun.
it looked real
It looked
enough.
real. It didn't have the orange tip. This was the 80s. There was no orange tip on play guns.
There's an orange tip on 2 of my toes. That's a separate issue. Everyone's gonna listen. My wife is gonna listen to this episode and go, "You lit your foot on fire." I'm like, I'm basically Tim Allen in real life. I don't know what you want from me. I'm literally Tim Taylor. So, but the phone rings before the cop can make a phone call, and he answers it, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a phone call." He's like, "Why is J. Edgar Hoover, the leader of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, calling?" And they're like, "Why is J. Edgar Hoover calling you?" Now, this line made me chuckle because Wadsworth goes, "He's on everyone else's phone. Why can't he be on mine?" That line actually, I thought I enjoyed that line. That was, again, it made me chuckle. And again, it was Tim Curry.
There was a lot of lines in this movie where I was like, that's kind of funny.
It's mildly funny.
But I never the one that got me the most, and when I say got me the most, I went, was when
it was a soupçon of funny.
Was when Colonel Mustard is talking to Mrs. White, and he says, "How many husbands have you had?" And she says, "Mine or other women's." And that I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny."
It was a soupçon of funny.
But yeah, there was a lot of those where I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of humorous."
Yeah.
But nothing laugh out loud.
So they go back. The cop is again locked in the room. He's pretty cool with it, if we're being honest. And the team, the group splits back up into their pairs to finish searching the house. It is at this point that the cop gets it.
You get hit with the pipe, right? Does it matter?
It doesn't. He gets
wrench,
hit. Whatever.
pipe,
candlestick. I don't know.
all the same.
They are all the same mode of death.
Yeah.
But then we see Yvette come out, and she has dropped her accent, and then she gets strangled with the noose. So she's dead.
The best character in the whole movie.
Then there's a ring at the doorbell, and we see the gloved hands that killed the cop and killed Yvette opens the door, and there's just a woman out there in a telegram uniform and starts doing a song and dance because she's a singing telegram, and then just the gun goes off and kills her. And then everyone's like, "There's a gun!" And everyone comes down and they're like, "Yvette's dead." But like, no, they just walk into the room where she's laid out on the pool table with the noose around her neck, and everyone just looks like, "Fucking really?" And then they go and then they're like, "Oh, there's the cop." And then they look out in the doorway and there's the telegram girl, and everyone just has this look of like, "I guess." You know?
That was the look I had watching this movie. But yeah, they're like, "Wait a minute. Okay, Yvette is strangled by the rope. Wait a minute. The cop was bludgeoned, but I heard a gunshot." And then they go and they open the front door and they're like, "Oh,
There she is.
this dead girl. Son of a bitch." And shut the door. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I thought that was funny. And then also, as like the movie progresses, they're like real grossed out and they're being real careful with dead bodies. But then by the end of it, they're just dropping motherfuckers. That made me laugh. Where they just were so just done with it. And they were just so numb to it all at this point that they're just dropping corpses on the floor. And
well, they even did that with the chef.
yeah, they just drop her.
Because they're carrying her into the room, and that's when Mr. Body was gone. And they're like, "Mr. Body's gone." Thunk. And they drop her head first onto the floor. And I'm like,
Thank God she was clearly a rag doll. Did you see that one leg kind of flip backwards as she fell?
yeah. Again, it's like, that's mildly humorous.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. So they run around some more, shenanigans ensue, and we get to one of 3 endings. Now, I want to talk about this from a production standpoint first.
Okay.
They divided the country into thirds and filmed 3 endings and then sent a different ending to each third.
Yes.
I love that idea.
I do too.
Because the idea being it could be anyone. It's the game Clue. Everyone's the murderer at some point. It's the game Clue, right? But then you have a movie where it's like, oh man, I saw Clue and, so-and-so was the killer. And someone just goes, no, they weren't. So-and-so was the killer. And then, no. And it's this whole thing, right? I actually really love that idea. And I'm not against other movies doing that.
No, I wouldn't mind like Knives Out.
Yeah.
Having something like that. I thought that was kind of a fun little idea.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. It was clever. It worked. I know, especially in some of the reviews, a lot of people complained about it and whatever. And I'm like, lighten up. That was fun. That is a fun idea, especially given what the movie is and what it's based on. And that's fun.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of movies will film multiple endings so that the ending of their film doesn't get leaked.
Yeah, like Avengers or something.
Yeah, they don't know which one of the 3 or 4 that they filmed.
Yeah, well, guess what, motherfuckers? They're all out there. Not only did Clue do it before you, they upped the ante and they sent out different endings.
Yeah.
But it is currently, it won't be by the time this listens, but I was able to watch it on Amazon Prime for free.
Oh, you watched it on Amazon?
Yeah.
I watched it on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's part of Amazon Prime.
No,
ours is
not mine.
Oh.
I had to get Paramount separately
Why?
because it's not part of Paramount Plus or Prime.
Yes, it is.
No, not.
Yes, that's how we have ours.
Oh, I don't have mine that way.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let me I honestly, I'm hijacking someone else's Prime.
Incredibly handsome criminal genius and master of all villainy.
Well, you wouldn't steal a handbag, would you?
No, but I would steal a streaming
You
service.
wouldn't steal a car, would you?
No, but I'd share a password.
Well, I'm just going to wait for the authorities to come and
Oh,
haul your ass away.
hopefully it's Mr. Green.
Well, we are at the ending. So, what I enjoyed was there are 3 endings for the theatrical release, but for this, they play all 3 endings. And that's fun. So you can see what,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I think more movies should do this. It's fun.
I did enjoy it, but after the second one, I was like, okay, let's get to the real endings. I wasn't aware if there was 3 or 4 endings because I know they had 4 originally.
Okay. I have to say, I always thought it was just the 3.
No, I knew there was 4 at one point, but I knew that one of them had been scrapped, but I didn't know if it was just scrapped and filmed and then scrapped, or if they just scrapped it after they wrote it and they're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So then when there was only 3, I was like, oh God, thank you. So I can't deal with 4 or 5 endings. This isn't Lord of the Rings.
And I couldn't deal with it then.
No.
So Wadsworth has it figured out and is going to reveal to everyone who the killer is and how he figured it out. But the only way to do that is for him and everyone else to sprint around the house as Tim Curry reenacts the entire movie we have just been watching for almost an hour and a half. And while it is a commendable performance, and while he does a great job with it, and some of the stuff he does has humorous elements to it, Jesus, we do not need to see a literal play-by-play, beat-for-beat retelling of the entire movie we just watched. You didn't think it was funny the first time? We're going to tell it to you again, motherfucker!
This movie has so much exposition. It's like, it's not called Clue, it's called exposition.
It's called Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick makes Clue. I'm like, oh, Jesus. But yeah, it's like they filmed the entire movie as a serious film, and they're like, you know what would be really funny is if we have this character explain and run through the entire, every set piece, every
main plot point,
every main plot point, every beat, literally run.
Yeah, he's booking it room to room,
booking it. And there was a few moments where I'd see him take off running, like when he was running with the knife. I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, because he runs, his feet are moving real fast, but his arms are real high up in, like, near his chest. Like,
But I'm like, no, don't explain the entire movie, because he literally does from the minute they sat down to dinner.
Yeah,
on from when they show up at the door.
From when Colonel Mustard, the first guest, rings the doorbell. Literally the entire movie. And we got to sit through it a second time. Was it as funny for you the second time? Was it good for you, Tevis? There's a question you've never heard before.
Yeah, no. The second time was not as enjoyable as the first time. And the first time wasn't as enjoyable as the first time.
I think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or I think John Landis is doing it wrong.
Very much so.
So, but the first ending is Scarlett ends up being the killer because Yvette is one of the girls who worked at her brothel and was supplying her information, so she had to die. And Mr. Body was a cohort of hers, so she killed him. The cop was taking bribes from her, so she killed him. I don't remember why she killed the chef or the telegram girl. I don't recall. But, like, she's blackmailed everyone because she deals in secrets, and she's going to sell everyone secrets and something secrets and money. And that's when Mr. Green reveals that he is an FBI agent, and the police bust in and they arrest her. After Tim Curry does throw her in a sweet hammerlock to get the gun away from her. Also, my wife pointed this out and it made me chuckle. So there's a moment where Scarlett's got the gun. She's pointing it at Tim Curry, and he's laughing. And she's like, what's so funny? He's like, that gun doesn't have any bullets in it. She's like, that trick won't work on me. Yes, it does. He's like, no, it doesn't. It fired once here, twice here, once there. 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 is 5. And she goes, no, it fired once and then 2 and then once and then 1. So it's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. And then he's like, no, it's 1 + 2 because that's 3. And they keep arguing about, is it 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 or 1 + 2 + 1 + 1 + 2 + 1 plus. And Anna goes, man, it's Dungeons and Dragons math. And that is so accurate. With all of us just going, wait, how much damage did you roll? They're like, I don't know, I have to math.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
You should come over sometime.
I've never watched MASH, The Simpsons.
You're losing.
Dungeons and Dragons I've never played. Okay. We're on a roll.
Nuns spread their buns.
Nuns spread their buns.
Nothing.
Is there a Dungeons and Dragons game called Nuns Spread Their Buns?
No.
Oh, okay. I'd play that.
Well, there are several games on Steam I can interest you in, like Sex with Hitler 3D.
What?
Not to be confused with the multiple 2D Sex with Hitler games.
What?
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why?
So you have sex with Hitler. And it's full pornography. The adult games.
That is ridiculous, and I'm going to need to know the name of that website again.
It's Steam.
Steam, okay.
It's not it's
what is Steam?
It's
I know what Steam is.
Okay, thank you. It's the marketplace / launcher for every computer game now. You can't go buy a physical fucking copy of a game anymore.
That's some
You have to get through
bullshit.
Steam, and Steam barely works most of the time. That's a separate issue. We're not a video game channel, but apparently we may be a porn channel. I don't know yet. We'll see how this episode does. So, the second so Scarlett's arrested. She was the bad guy. Huzzah. Then we go to ending 2, where we find out it's Miss Peacock. And it's, it was her chef, so she murdered her. And, everyone's connected to her and her senator husband. And she gets away until she's arrested by the FBI. Ha-ha!
Gotcha, bitch.
Then there's the third ending, which by the old school, black and white card is, I guess, considered the actual, canon ending.
Right.
Where everyone except Mr. Green kills someone.
Yes, because he was the undercover FBI agent.
So we learn that Professor Purple kills the Telegram Girl because the Telegram Girl was the patient he had an affair with and ruined his career. And that Scarlett killed the police officer because he was taking bribes from her. And that Mrs. Peacock kills the chef because the chef was formerly Mrs. Peacock's chef and knew secrets.
Knew about the bribes.
And the motorist served in the army with Colonel Mustard and knew he was a war profiteer. And Wadsworth killed Mr. Body because Mr. Wadsworth is actually the blackmailer. Mr. Wadsworth actually owns that house, and it was Mr. Body who was the butler.
Yes.
Am I forgetting anyone?
Mrs. White.
Mrs. White.
She killed
her husband.
This movie.
Oh, Mrs. White killed Yvette for having the affair with her husband.
That's right.
So everyone had killed someone except Mr. Green. As we find out, he's an undercover FBI agent. All the police bust in, and he's like, "You're all under arrest." And they arrest everyone, and they're all pointing blame and da-da-da. And the final gag is like, "You did a good job, Mr. Green. Thanks, Chief. And now I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife."
Credits.
You mean the gay man was secretly straight all along? What? Now I'm going to go home and have sex. I'm not going to lie. I've been written up at work more than once for loudly proclaiming that after I clock out. And they're like, "Hey, Jake, thanks for coming in. Have a good night." I'm like, "Yeah, you too. And now I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife."
Okay. You're fired now.
No, I just been written up multiple times.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No, so the gag didn't work for me.
Which one? You actually?
Yes, all of them. No, I mean, that's the ending gag. The whole, "I'm going to go have sex with my life." Okay, we get it.
You were a gay character.
You're keeping it secret. You're hiding. Just, no. Didn't work.
So the physical humor in this movie is either old and poorly done, like the Stooges door gag.
Yes.
It's either old and poorly done, or it's just not funny and poorly done.
There was one point where the group comes together. I don't even know.
And they all bump into each other.
All come down like bowling pins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
And the writing in this movie, how do I put this? Is somebody thinks, and by somebody, I guess I do specifically mean John Landis, Jonathan Lynn, and uncredited Anthony E. Pratt. You can't get away from this motherfucker. IMDb calls you out.
This movie had 3 writers.
And apparently they all thought they were the wittiest, funniest motherfuckers on the planet. And I'm like, you guys have only the most basic passing understanding of humor and wit.
Yeah, it's like they had one gag that they loved, and they tried to take that and just tweak it ever so slightly here and there.
But even with like the writing, they're like boom, zing, one-liner, and it's like, no, that's doesn't really work. Or they like a blind squirrel will find a nut, right?
Yeah.
There was an occasional line where you're like, oh, that was amusing. That wasn't bad.
And there was so many of them that they just kind of, the way they were delivered too, they weren't funny. Like Mrs. Peacock asks Yvette, I need to use the little girl's room. Do you have one here close by or something? And Yvette,
She says wee wee.
wee wee. And she's like, oh, no, I just need to powder my nose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the most childish, unfunny, unsophisticated. Even for vaudeville and slapstick humor, this is unsophisticated.
Yeah,
right?
but even the delivery too, I was like, okay, Miss Peacock could have been like, no, I just got to powder my nose.
Yeah.
Like, but she's like, no, I just got to powder my nose. Like, I missed it the first time.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother.
Hey, LA Knight?
How?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, because I know who that is.
You don't know who LA Knight is?
I have a passing knowledge of who LA Knight is. I have not watched wrestling in many, many years because it's trash. It didn't used to be trash. It's trash now.
You're not far off there, but
all right. You know what? This movie can go on pause for a second.
Okay.
AEW is crap. It is a bunch of people I do not know or care about doing high spots they themselves cannot perform because they're not talented enough, and all they do is injure each other and have bad matches with no chemistry or understanding.
You didn't enjoy that slap fight with John Moxley and that other jackoff?
Doesn't even matter who you're talking about. No, it's all of them. WWE is 3 hours of poorly written dialogue, and they forget that they're a wrestling show and it's a comedic soap opera. And I'm like, where are the matches, guys? You expect me to watch 3 hours of a wrestling show, and there is maximum 20 minutes maybe of wrestling? You are out of your goddamned mind. Are you what? The best promos wrestling has ever had did not have writers. It had wrestlers who could deliver a fucking promo on the spot, off the cuff, as they're able to come up with it based on the shit that has happened. We will never have good classic promos like we used to as long as writers are telling people what to say. First of all, get rid of all of them. Second of all, 3-hour television program of wrestling is too long. 1 hour, you can make it work, a little short. I prefer 2 hour, but 1 to 2 hours. And then, I don't know, have fucking wrestling happen in it. And then all the other shit happens around the wrestling. But the wrestling is the main focal point of the show. Jesus. Then the people doing the wrestling, understand basic psychology of the wrestling match, and they know how to actually do their moves, so their punches look like punches, and they don't just break each other's necks doing stupid shit that obviously doesn't work. Like, okay, it's not even particularly dangerous, but it's one of these things where it's like, this guy's doing a tree of woe, and the other guy's going to get up on the top rope, jump off, and do a double stomp. But the only way that works is if the guy is in the tree of woe is literally holding himself up with his arms and abs on the middle rope. So he's creating a table with his body for the other person to double stomp onto. No one would do that! Why are we actively just showing the cooperation in wrestling? It's supposed to be, yes, the outcomes are predetermined. We all know this, but it is supposed to look like a fucking fight. It is supposed to look like an actual wrestling match / fight. I hate this overly cooperative high spot garbage, and I hate the overly soap opera crap garbage. Wrestling is dead. Deal with it. Now that the wrestling podcast is over, we can get back to this shit movie. Do you have final thoughts? I think we're there. I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. I really need a bag of ice for my fucking foot that I lit on fire with your 30-year-old heater.
That is new within the last 2 years. Thank you.
Safety guard my ass.
Well, it's not anticipating toes being shoved into it.
My toes were cold, so I put them closer to the heater. It's cold down here. I thought I could warm them up, and I lit my fucking foot on fire.
Well, run around the studio like Tim Curry.
Deedly, 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 dee. Funny shit ever.
Oh, okay. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I was excited to watch this. And about 10 minutes in, I fell asleep on the couch.
Oh, like you actually lost consciousness.
I fell asleep. Because periodically, depending on the movie that we watch for the show, I will have my daughter watch it with me. And I said to her, I was like, we have to watch this movie. I have to watch this movie. Would you want to watch it with me? She's like, I don't know. I said, well, let's give it a chance. Let's 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I said, if you don't enjoy it, we can shut it off and I can watch it at another time. I was, like I said, 10 minutes in, we're laying on the couch. I fell asleep. I woke up, looked over at her. I said, do you like this movie? She's like, no. And I was like, okay. So I shut it off. And then I was like, I'll rewatch it later. So the next day, I started it over. So I got to watch the poop gag twice. And I realized I could sleep standing up because there's a point as I'm watching this movie, I was on the couch watching it. I was like, I have got to stand up. I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I stand up and I kind of pace around the living room a little bit, still trying to focus on this film. And I literally could have fell asleep standing there. The actors, there were a lot of actors. Madeline Kahn, she plays the same character in everything I've ever seen her in.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Ann Warren, I've never really been a big fan of. I love Christopher Lloyd, but
he could have been, but Professor Plum could have been played by anyone.
Exactly.
What a waste of Christopher Lloyd.
Mr. Green was Michael McKean, I think is his name.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy him, but Tim Curry, like you said, definitely carried this film.
And with such little, he carries the film despite what he has to work with.
Absolutely. Honestly, part of me wishes I would have watched it back when I was younger. I may have enjoyed it a little more.
Mm-hmm. May
have had fonder memories of it. But now my memories of it are, I'm so glad I didn't rent that sumbitch. So, no, I cannot recommend this. Definitely not worth the ticket price. Maybe watch it just for Tim Curry, but there's other things he's in that he's way better in, has more to do. Watch Loaded Weapon 1. He's in that, and he plays a hitman who dresses up like a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
And they're the Wilderness Girls. And he comes knocking at the door. Wilderness Girls. He's got the beard and everything. Oh, he's so good. It's so funny.
Watch Muppet Treasure Island.
Watch Muppet Treasure Island. Yes. No, skip it.
Wilderness Girls. I know what we're watching next.
I love that. That movie is so stupid, but that part gets me every time.
All right. Final thoughts. So, this is now the second time I've watched this movie. And I could see where this movie is funny to two particular groups of people. One, people who have never heard a joke before, ever, in their entire lives. B, children who haven't heard a joke before in their entire lives. This movie is also rated PG, right? Think about all the sexual content in this movie.
Yeah.
I am not letting my children watch this movie, even when they're technically PG age. Not a fucking chance am I going to let them see Christopher Lloyd grope some chick's ass. Or all of the people staring at Yvette's boobs, or just whatever. And then, like, they even act out sex positions because they were looking. Remember, they're looking.
Oh, I forgot about
they're
that.
They're looking at the negative photos, the negatives of Colonel Mustard at the brothel, and they're like, "You can't get in a position like that." And Christopher
Lloyd's character,
Professor Plum, is like, "Yeah, you can. You grab her like this," and and I'm like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
this is a PG movie."
I forgot about that. Yeah. Even Madeline Kahn's like, get off me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, so this movie's rating is weird to me for how overtly sexual it is, and it's not funny. This movie is not funny. So I'm sorry, Rory B13, that your dad has bad taste in movies, I guess. I mean, we lost your follower count a long time ago.
maybe back in the 80s, this was super funny.
Was it?
Again, I don't know. Maybe. But I mean, if you spend $15 million on a movie and you only get back 14.
It was 14,643,997.
Okay, so you only get back 14 and a half. Then maybe it just didn't click.
It didn't click all right. So I, in good conscience, even if you have the ability to watch it for free, don't. If you've never seen this movie, move on. There's nothing to see here, folks. I'm Leslie Nielsen. The fucking fireworks factory is exploding behind me. Please move along, folks. There's nothing to see here. Official police business. Move along. If you have watched this movie and you love this movie, do not re-watch it. Just let your memories and your nostalgia,
I agree,
keep it alive for you, and be happy with that, and just move along. Don't bury this movie for yourself. And, we didn't talk about it. The ending of our episode, every ending of theirs has the line, communism was a red herring.
Okay.
Get it? Red herring, red communism, red communism, red. Do you get it? And we have to hear this line 3 times.
Is it because they're red? And it's the Reds.
Because, the Red Army. The Reds. Communism and the Reds. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Red herring.
And they really slap you in the face with that shit.
They thought that line was so clever. They put it in the movie 3 times. And that's everything you need to know about this movie. If the line, communism was a red herring, in a movie that takes place in the 50s, during the height of McCarthyism and the Red Scare and all of that, even with that knowledge, if the line communism is a red herring does not make you just double over laughing, nothing else in this movie is any better. Just move along. Nothing to see here.
What was it Ebert said in his review?
Fun, I must say, is in short supply.
I don't think I've ever said this before on this show. I agree with Ebert.
Jesus. Wait, everyone run out and look at the meteor that's about to crash into the planet. Oh my God, look at those riders in the sky, the apocalypse! The world is ending. The Tevis is fever. My God, there's pizza released.
There's no fire in the sky. It's just fire in your sock.
That's true, but I put it out. My toes are extra crispy. Oh, you got anything else?
I'm pretty sure I do not.
All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap us up here. So first of all, I do want to give another shout out and a big, big thank you to Rory B13 for suggesting this movie. Rory, I hope this episode was everything you wanted it to be. I hope you laughed and had fun. I'm sorry we didn't like you and your dad's movie. You know what? I hope you guys put it in and you enjoy it and you're like, these two don't know what they're talking about, because we don't. But you know what? Whoever wants to recommend our next movie, please pick a better one.
I do want to honestly thank him or her. I don't know who it is for suggesting this movie, because like I said before, I had always wanted to watch this. And I'm actually glad I got to watch it.
Yeah. Just so now you know.
Now
you have no doubt in your mind now.
Now I know. And I'm a little sad. A little sadder now than I normally am.
Yeah. World's a little darker.
Yeah.
The dog poop on my shoe.
Dead chef in my den.
There's a lot of dead people in the den. So we're Ticket Price. This has been a special episode of listener requests. Be sure to hit us up in the comments and recommend movies you think we should talk about. Rory B13, you're done. You don't get any more, Rory B13. I'm sorry. You got one shot to impress us and you failed. Remember way back when I said hit us up in the comments, we'll give you a shout out on the show? Do you think anyone imagined it would be this aggressive? Well, it is! Deal with it! You pick a bad movie and I'm going to tell you it's a bad movie. But no, again, big thank you to Rory B13. Big thank you to everyone listening. This has been a special episode of Ticket Price. Tune in Friday where we get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Off the top of my head, I can't remember when this will drop, so I'm not sure what the next regular episode is, but I bet it's hot fire, like all of our episodes are. And my left sock, because I lit my fucking foot on fire while we recorded this, Rory B13. I literally set myself on fire for your shitty movie. So I hope all you appreciate my sacrifice. Who am I? I'm Jake. That's Tevis. We're Ticket Price. Thank you all for listening, and good night.
That totally makes it worth it that you burned your foot.
I lit my... And now I'm gonna go home and have sex with my wife.